the latest scientific evidences shown that the Bible's incorrect and that belief in God is just simply irrational or unreasonable? Is that really the case? Well, I'm joined here today with Ted Cable, professor of philosophy of religion at Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, to address this question. You know, Ted, I find that even interacting with non-believers, many of them just marvel at the elegance and beauty and sophistication of creation, yet they are very resistant to the idea of creator. Why would you say that is?
I can remember, as if it were yesterday, 45 plus years ago, as an atheist who was antagonistic toward Christianity, what that feels like. That is to say, my own remembrance of the psychology of why I would resist such a thing, even when I would be intrigued by the evident design in nature. And the answer was very simple. It was my worldview. My worldview wouldn't allow that sort of thing. I was convinced there couldn't be a God precisely because it didn't fit with my overall desires, my overall conceptions, and so on. To give you an illustration from modern times, the great atheist philosopher of our most recent era, Antony Flew, said if he were to see a statue made of marble wave at him, he would refuse to believe it was a miracle, precisely because miracles are impossible in his mind. He would rather assume a quantum event had occurred. That's an example of worldview influencing what would obviously be a miracle to someone else. And by the way, shortly before he died, he had changed his view on those sorts of things. He'd come to believe that the universe itself does display there must be a creator precisely because of the elegance and evident design of the universe.
So you seem to be making a statement that often our worldview drives what we allow to be possible rather than looking at the data and seeing what's the best explanation. Is that what you're saying there?
That is what I'm saying. Now, happily, day in and day out in ordinary affairs, whether it's scientific study or our doing business in the marketplace, these issues don't come into play that much. But on issues of morality and the big questions of life, is there a creator and has he given it a purpose? The sorts of things that interest us most, actually, when we're reflective, science really doesn't have an answer. And in fact, those pre-answered sorts of views are what sometimes cause scientists, in my opinion, to say, well, it may look designed, it may smell as if it's designed, and so on, but it just impossibly can't be designed. That's a philosophical or worldview sort of predetermined answer, not something that the science told them, in my opinion.
So is that something where, I mean, obviously Christianity has a worldview, that seems fairly evident, but is that something where Christianity weighs in on how we have worldviews and how that influences things, and what do we do with that?
It seems sort of harsh to say, but the answer is yes. And the reason I say it's harsh is because according to Romans 1, the Apostle Paul, who himself was an antagonist toward Christianity before his own conversion and meeting Christ, he says that when we look at the world around us, God actually has made himself known in a powerful way. He doesn't get into the details of exactly what that means, but he says there's more than enough evidence because God makes himself known and through what he has made, that when people say, no, he is not there, they are actually turning away to a kind of idolatry.
Explain what you mean by that.
Okay.
What does that look like?
Well, it means that the world really is elegant. The world really is beautiful. Of course, there are problems, there's science, there is suffering, there's evil. And science can look at things that are intriguing, whether how things might be designed or not. But according to Paul, it really is evident, and he agrees with the atheist when he says, you know what, it's beautiful, it's interesting, and I find it intriguing. But Paul says the reason they turn away is because of that worldview that says, I can't face up to the fact there must be a creator, a personal creator who would be involved in my life, and therefore they turn to the creation itself as a kind of replacement for God.